Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you a 2012 team preview for the Detroit Lions. So we're going to take a look at their offense to see what we can expect the Lions to look like this upcoming season. What a difference it makes to have Matthew Stafford on the field for the Lions for a full 16-game season. He had a phenomenal campaign last year. This guy threw for over 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, high completion percentage, did a great job of facilitating the football through many different targets. What he has to work on, he just has to make sure he cleans up his mechanics. Step up in the pocket a little bit more. Don't try to force things. I know you have the strong arm. You can't force things. But as far as arm talent and his leadership, the Lions need him on the field in order to be competitive. As long as he's out there, they're going to have a huge opportunity to repeat what they did last year and build on it. What I like most, though, is that they went ahead and got their backup quarterback, a guy in Kellen Moore. I think is going to be a phenomenal player in this league. And if Matthew Stafford happens to go down, which I don't think he will, they're going to be in good hands because this guy is a true leader at the position. In order for this Detroit Lions ball club to take the next step and be an even more explosive offense, to really be an offensive juggernaut, they really need the running game to step up and be consistent. They have to get healthy in the backfield. Java Best is a guy that has tremendous talent, can make you miss in the phone booth, also has the breakaway speed and the vision to take it the distance. If he can stay on the field for 16 games, this offense will go from good to great. Why? Because the running game keeps defenses off balance. Good thing they had Kevin Smith last year to help out their running game. He was able to come in and chip in some valuable minutes and get some key yards for this ball club. But they're going to have a huge target on Mikel LaSure. They drafted him last year. He missed last year with an injury. Can he come back healthy? If he can, this offense, like I mentioned before, will go from good to great because the running game will provide balance for that offense. You can't talk about the Detroit Lions receiving core without mentioning Calvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron. The guy is 6'6", 240 pounds, 4.3 speed, catches every football pass thrown his way. Unbelievable range as a receiver. Now, what I like most is that he isn't the only target. Yes, they have Calvin Johnson, who's their superstar, but they're great targets elsewhere on the field. Titus Young had a solid rookie season, and I'm in love with both of their tight ends. I think Tony Scheffler and also Brandon Pettigrew provide instant matchup problems for opposing defenses. Now the defenses have to find safeties and linebackers to cover these huge targets, in particular around the red zone, and that's always an instant mismatch. And you also toss in another rookie that I'm excited to see if he proves to be healthy, and that's Ryan Broyles, a rookie they drafted out of Oklahoma. This guy has outstanding athleticism, short to mid-range type of receiver, and has that burst that you like after the catch. He's going to be a valued addition to this Lions passing game if he proves to be healthy. Considering that the Lions were predominantly a passing team last year, I'm talking about 80% pass, the offensive line did a great job of keeping Matt Stafford well protected. You saw that by the fact that Matt Stafford was out there for 16 games, including the playoffs. But they have to get younger and better at the tackle position. Jeff Backus is coming into his 12th year. Gosher Charles is a guy that struggles a little bit, but I look at rookie Riley Reef. He's going to come in. He's going to help out that offensive line, the guy that can play both left and right tackle. And on the interior, they have some question marks. Dominic Raiola, the center, is always a question. He's a guy that's coming into his 12th season as well. Steven Peterman and also Rob Sims are two guys on the interior that have to get better as far as opening up holes in the running game. If this line can clean up the sloppiness in the running game department, then this line can be vastly improved in 2012. The defensive line did an outstanding job in getting to the quarterback last season and a fairly decent job in stopping the run. The reason why they're so successful out there in Detroit is the depth and talent they have up front. And Ndamukong Suh is a guy that's very dominant, very strong at the point of attack. You also look at a guy like Corey Williams, vastly underrated defensive tackle, does a great job of getting penetration. On the edge, you have Kyle Van Den Bosch, a guy that doesn't get old. And on the opposite end, you have Cliff Avril, another underrated guy, had a career year last season as far as get to the quarterback is concerned. Where they have room for improvement is they have to make sure they maintain composure throughout these ball games. Like I mentioned before, the depth is there. Nick Fairley should have an improved second season as a rotational defensive tackle guy. They got a lot of production out of Lawrence Jackson. They're trying to get the same production out of Everett Brown, the former second-round pick of Carolina. He comes over this year in free agency. But keep an eye on Andre Fluellen, and I'm a big fan of Sammy Hill. Those two guys, in my opinion, will probably have huge years as situational pass rushers and run stoppers. The re-signing of Stephen Tulloch was a huge addition to their Lions linebacking core. They had to get him back in the fold. This guy had over 100 tackles last season and 2 interceptions. I also like the play of Justin Durant. This guy does a great job in the running game. Powerful guy. Rarely do you see a linebacker nowadays that's a true force in a running game. And DeAndre Levy did a solid job, not outstanding, but solid, in the move to the outside linebacker position last year. Where we have some questions about the Detroit Lions is the depth. They have to get better depth behind their frontline starters. That's why they went ahead and drafted Travis Lewis out of Oklahoma in the 7th round. I really think this guy is going to be a huge steal for the Detroit Lions defense. He has some pass rushing ability. Keep an eye on him being a force as a rookie, underrated aspect to their defense. The Lions struggled in the secondary last year, but it wasn't due to talent. It was due to the fact that they were injured and they were playing depleted all season long. If these guys, their starters, can stay out there for 16 games, vastly improved bunch. Chris Houston is their underrated lockdown corner. They have to have him out there all season long. Aaron Berry is a guy that made the team as an undrafted free agent, now is a frontline starter. And I like their safeties. Louis Delmas, one of the ferocious hitters in the league, and also Amaris Pavey. But they drafted 2 corners, Bill Bentley out of my alma mater, University of Louisiana, and they also took Chris Greenwood in the 5th round out of Albion. Both guys, very solid cover skills, also have ball skills, so they're going to get depth in this back half of their defense to protect themselves in case they get bit by the injury bug again this year in 2012. And plus, they have to compete with the likes of the Packers and now the Bears. Both teams have outstanding passing games. You have to be optimistic if you're a Detroit Lions fan. The reason why: you have an explosive offense, you have a great pass game, you can throw yourself out of a paper bag. Most teams can't pass the way the Detroit Lions can pass. And on defense, you got an outstanding, top-notch defensive line that can get pressure on the QB. That's huge in this league. So both aspects, the passing game and the pass rushing ability, is the reason why you have to be optimistic if you're a Detroit Lions fan. The cause for concern has to be the running game. Until we see guys back there, Java Best, Mikael LaShaw, Kevin Smith, stay healthy for a full season, you have to count this as a concern. You also have to look at the offensive line, the interior offensive line. How well can they open up holes for these guys to run through? Those are the only concerns I have about the Lions this season. I have the Lions finishing 3rd in a very tough NFC North this season. You look at what they do well. They can throw the football. They can rush the passer. Things I have a question with are the running game. Can they run the football with consistency? Can they get out of their own way on defense? Can they avoid those mental errors that plagued them throughout the season? And the schedule makers wasn't that nice this year for Detroit as far as their opening schedule. They open up with the bulk of their games on the road, so they're going to have to win some tough road games. But it sets up nice for them to make a run on the back half of their schedule, because 5 of the last 7 games they're playing at home in that raucous crowd out there in Detroit. So if they're going to make any moves, it's going to have to be in November and December.